The operation of the karmic sort of laws or karma is in some sense an instance of this overall general causal principle.
That the name Dana Tagway, Tinjung, that Chashel Dana Tagwang, Kadada, Mingwang Tagway, that Tinjung Kwa Dilayundu, any Tinjung Kwa Ditone Jayona, Dambar Naya, Dambar Modrube, Nane Mitubiti, in shame.
Similarly, when you have developed a deeper understanding of the two other levels of understanding of dependent origination, these are understanding in terms of sort of dependence on parts and whole, and also dependence of the sort of interdependence between perception and existence, then one will be able to further sort of develop a deeper philosophical sort of perspective on the world, which is to appreciate that there is a disparity between the way things appear to you and the way things really exist, that what appears to you as some kind of intrinsic, autonomous, objective reality out there does not really fit the actual nature of reality.
Emotion nalolia. Any Kasolbege Eugene Nanametumba in particular, any emotion dignifican Zindande, and a Nanatumblian Zin. The Negatoneta, Gian Chayong Chigi, Takadachi, Numo Nang, Numo Chao Chao, in Shineji, Chinchlo, Loy, Shepiachi, Yonsari.
So once we are able to develop this perspective, this understanding that there is a disparity, a fundamental gap or a disparity between the way things appear to us and the way things really exist. Once you appreciate that gap between appearance and reality, then you will gain a sort of a certain insight into the workings of your own emotion and your reactive sort of emotion towards events and objects. You will gain an insight that underlying our strong emotional responses or reactions to situations or events, we see that there is an assumption of some kind of independently existing kind of abiding object, some kind of objective reality out there.
So the negative any Loy Kasurbe Lochiraba Gashegi, any Pigeta Shenyu Medeva. Shenyu Medeva. Shenyu Medeva Shetia Chikshe. Charging name at the Tenetaba in the Quadi Tone or any Moni to be Tone. And Tungilia, never does near Ina. Dini Sunditanera, Sujogi, that Loy Namda, any Casota, Loy Namda, that Daman and Alone, you know, Chicada, Chinchilog, that law, Shin Session sorry, Chinchilog law. The doing Shin mating it. Dindigi lawyer getting a chick, shit, chick.
So once you are able to develop this understanding and appreciation of this fundamental sort of disparity between appearance and reality, and then, as I mentioned before, you will be able to understand that underlying many of our strong emotions, emotional responses towards events and situations, there is an assumption of some kind of existence of an independently existing reality out there. And this will give you an insight into sort of various functions of the mind and the different types of conscious sort of levels of consciousness that exist within you, and also to understand that certain types of sort of cognitive events or mental states or emotional states, although they may seem so real and the objects appear to them so vivid, but in reality they are mere illusions. And
자, 아니 저 지금 때에 딱 봐. 이뭐 디 코에 때에 딱 봐. 이거 준세도 제디 정신이 땅에 코아지. 내용야지 용도 땅반이 있어야 돼. 중생여야 되네. 땅반이 임버디 중생여야 되네.
So, so you, to carry on with the translation of an earlier statement, so if you are able to develop this understanding that within your own mental states and emotional states, there are certain states which may seem very real and which may seem to be relating to objects which seem so real and vivid to you, but in reality these are states of illusions, that what the objects that they relate to do not really exist. So through that way we will be able to gain an insight into what in technical Buddhist language is called the origin of suffering. These afflictive emotional experiences or emotional states that lead to confusion, misapprehension, and then which afflicts the mind. And when this is combined with the understanding of this interdependent nature of reality at the most subtlest level, then we will also gain insight into what in technical Buddhist language is called the empty nature of reality, the emptiness of all things and events, how each and every object and events lack an intrinsic or independent reality, that they come into being only purely as a result of aggregation of many factors, that they do not possess existence or identity that is independent or autonomous. So once you gain insight into that emptiness, then of course you will be also able to understand that any apprehensions that conceive reality in the contrary way, that things exist intrinsically, that things exist independently, then you will know that these apprehensions are misapprehensions. These are misconceptions pertaining to the nature of reality. And then you will also realize that they have no valid grounding either in reality nor in your own valid experiences. Whereas the empty nature of reality has a valid grounding both in reason and also in your own experience. Through that way, you will be able to understand, appreciate the possibility of arriving at a state of knowledge where you can conceive the possibility of eliminating that misapprehension completely, and that is the state of cessation. So the point is that by developing a deep, profound understanding of the principle of dependent origination, you can understand both the truth about the origin of suffering and also subtle suffering, subtle origins of the suffering, and also the truth of cessation. So this is the meaning of the statement that by understanding or by seeing dependent origination, you see the Dharma.
Yes.
So through this way, you can see the truth of the cessation and the path that leads to that cessation. So once through this understanding, so once you understand the truth about the path and also the cessation that the paths lead to, then of course then you will be able to conceive the possibility of Sangha members who would have realized and actualized these states, and also Buddhas who would have perfected in these states and these experiences. So this is to sum up, this is the meaning of the Buddha's statement, that by understanding the principles of dependent origination in causal terms, in terms of causal dependence, you understand